This is a Pistacia terebinthus. It's native to Iran and the Mediterranean region. It's being used by the CSIRO in Australia as a rootstock for Pistacia vera. That's the ordinary pistachio nut that we all know and love. But this one is quite interesting. I've saved these from under the graft of my ordinary Pistacia veras. They keep growing wild or suckering, so I've dug them up. I've dug them out and planted them all over the place because they're very drought resistant. They have a male and female, just like ordinary Pistacia vera, but this is Pistacia terebinthus. These ones set seeds. I'm wondering if they cross-pollinate with Pistacia vera and also Pistacia chinensis, the ornamental Pistacia tree. But these ones have got lots of uses according to Wikipedia and online information I looked up. They also have an edible seed. It's eaten raw or cooked, and it's sweeter and oilier than an almond, so that says something. They're good emergency food, aren't they? They yield an edible oil. The resin of the tree is used as a wine preservative, and the resin is also made into chewing gum, so that's something. Soap is made from the seed oil. The shoots are edible, apparently. It's used as a vegetable. These little shoots are edible, according to Wikipedia. It's been used to make turpentine. That's interesting because mangoes are related to pistachio nuts, aren't they? If you scratch the skin of a pistachio nut, you can smell turpentine, sort of mango-y smell. And mango skins have that. Mango leaves, the leaves of mango trees have that turpentine-y smell. So the shoots are edible according to theory, but I wouldn't eat them without doing a lot of research on that. It's been used to make turpentine. The fruits, they have little red fruits. The fruits are used in Cyprus for baking a speciality bread. That would be very entertaining, wouldn't it? Bread with all little red berries stuck all over it. Of course, the berries have nuts inside, tiny nuts. It's used to make coffee. The fruits nuts are used to make coffee in Turkey. It's called Kurdish coffee, apparently. And the fruits are also used to make brandy flavouring. That's all very interesting about Pistacia terebinthus. It says that the shoots are edible as a vegetable. I have been eaten that way, but you want to know what you're doing, and some people are allergic to the leaves of ornamental Pistacia are just rubbed against their skin, so you'd want to make sure you weren't allergic. You want to really make sure you knew what you were doing if you're going to eat the leaves, the shoots as a vegetable. The fruits apparently are also pickled in vinegar and salt. So people in Iran and Turkey and Cyprus know how to make the best use of these trees, obviously. They've been used in Australia by the CSIRO as a rootstock for the ordinary Pistacia nut, as I said. They're a very tough rootstock. Very tough. They're quite ornamental too. Ours set seeds, so they must be female, mustn't they? They have male and female, apparently. Just like ordinary Pistacia vera. Ours set seeds, so they must be female. If they set seeds, how are they setting seeds? Where are they getting the pollen from? All the ones I've dug up were taken from under the graft of a Pistacia vera, so they must all be the one sex. So in that case, they must either be self-fertile, or they've been having sex with Pistacia vera, or the ornamental Pistacia chinensis that we've got growing around the place. So this is a big Pistacia terebinthus here that I've let grow huge. Came up from a sucker under a Pistacia vera. There are the little nuts with all the uses I've just mentioned. This is Pistacia terebinthus, used by the CSIRO as a rootstock for Pistacia vera. So as soon as they're big enough, these Pistacia terebinthus could simply be grafted with Pistacia vera on top of them, couldn't they? They could. These are extremely drought resistant, extremely so. And it's interesting that their own nuts are edible. That's very handy to know. I could grow hundreds and hundreds of them, couldn't I? And they'd all yield an edible seed, an edible nut. So these are last season's nuts. They're last season's nuts, aren't they? Still on the tree. They're last season's edible little nuts. And this is the new nuts forming this season. This is this year's season. And to recap, what did we learn? The fruits can be eaten pickled in vinegar and salt. In Turkey they're made into coffee. These beans are made into coffee. Turkish coffee, Kurdish coffee rather it's called. And they're used for brandy flavouring. And in Cyprus the fruits are used for baking in a specialty bread. Specialty or speciality, whatever. So that's interesting to know. Let's look at the tree itself, the big tree now. The one that I let grow really big from below the graft. I let it take over. It's a very good sized tree. A good sized ornamental tree. I've always thought of it as an ornamental, but now I see it's a useful tree, and it's got stored food in it, stored permaculture energy. Here again we have last season's nuts. This season's nuts. Last season's nuts. And this season's nuts. Berries, whatever you want to call them. Very beautiful and attractive foliage. Lovely tree, lovely ornamental tree. What is it? Pistacia terebinthus. That's it, terebinthus. And it can be used to graft Pistacia vera, the normal edible Pistacia nut on top.